Hola, mi poco bateristas. Lucas here again with a little quick lesson on choosing drumsticks and choosing drum heads. Once again, it's going to be a short clip. I don't like to waste your time. I like to give you incredible value in the shortest possible time. So, first of all, sticks. Now, I play 5Bs, okay? The weird thing about drumstick sizes is that the smaller the number, the bigger the stick, okay? So it's kind of counterintuitive. So a 5B is kind of like a medium-sized stick. If you went to a 7A, that would actually be smaller and thinner than a 5B. And if you went the other direction to something like a 2B, it would be bigger and fatter than a 5B. Now, the rule of thumb generally seems to be with choosing drumsticks that if you're just a beginner, that you want to start with a 5A, okay? So a 5A is like this, like a 5B, but it just sort of got a slightly smaller tip, which is what this bit of the drumstick is called, slightly thinner through this area of the stick, which is called the shoulder of the stick, and it's generally all thinner slightly all the way to this part of the stick, which we call the butt of the stick. And you'll sometimes see rock drummers playing with this part of the stick on the snare drum just to get that extra fat backbeat, okay? So, for me, a 5B is good because it's a good kind of medium-sized stick, but it's a bit fatter, a bit heavier in the shoulder here, slightly bigger acorn tip, really works for the kind of music that I play. Now, you could go to something like this stick here, which is the Veta Session model, and that's probably more like a 5A. You can see, or you might not be able to see, but you can see if I hold the two up, that it's slightly thinner than the 5B, has a smaller tip, and you can definitely see it's narrower through the shoulder, okay? So if you're just starting off, a 5A is a good stick to use. Now, generally speaking, people choose their drumsticks based on the type of music they're going to play. So if you were a heavy metal drummer, for example, you wouldn't use a 7A because you break it after the first song. 7A, a thin type stick, is really designed for playing jazz, okay? It's quiet, okay? You're going to get more volume out of a drum with a 5B or a 3A or a 2B, as I said. The smaller the number, the bigger the stick. That's when you're getting up into the tree trunk territory, okay? As you go the other direction, where the numbers are getting bigger, the stick is actually getting smaller, okay? So like I said, it's counterintuitive. I don't know why, it doesn't really make much sense, but there you go. I don't make the rules about this. So that's your snapshot introduction into drumstick sizes. If you're confused and you're just starting out, which, you know, this whole video lesson and this whole video course is all about making sure you don't get into bad habits, because I love teaching beginners to make sure they start properly, you know. You're always a beginner as well. You can always learn something new, okay? As they say in Spanish, autodidacta, which means you are learning yourself or teaching yourself. Okay, so that's your snapshot introduction to drumsticks. Moving right along onto drum heads. Now, I've got lovely new heads on this kit because I only just bought it. And I haven't even used them yet, to be honest. I've been playing on the pads. But we've got some lovely Remo heads here, okay, with the lovely Gretsch logo on them, okay. That great Gretsch sound, beautiful drums. Now, these heads are what you call coated heads, okay. So they've got like a rough white coating on them, which is great for when you want to play brushes, okay? That's why they have that coating. It's meant to replicate the feel of original calfskin heads, which is what they used to use. The problem with calfskin heads was that in hot temperatures, they would stretch too much and they would start to go out of tune. They would also start to pong, which means smell for you Americans, okay? So they'd start to stink. Anyway, in about 1950, Remo Belly, as in Remo drumheads, he kind of revolutionised the plastic drumhead. So since then, they've essentially been made out of plastic. And there's a whole bunch of brands, you know, Remo, Evans, Aquarian. Those are the three big ones I can think of off the top of my head. So, these are Remo heads. These will probably be, because this is a little jazz kit, these will probably be what they call the ambassador weight. Now, ambassadors are kind of like a single ply head. General rule of thumb, if you're playing lighter music, okay, you want a single ply head, which all that means is one piece of plastic, okay? So your head is one piece of stretched plastic. A double ply head, just meaning two, means you've got two plies of plastic, okay? So the head is immediately stronger, obviously, okay? And suits more, obviously, louder forms of music. So generally speaking, you'll find that rock drummers tend to play double ply heads, okay? So you might think of like an Emperor, which is what they, Remo make an Emperor, clear Emperors, and also a coated Emperor. So the coated, let's talk about coated, they're talking about this white coating. If they talk about a clear head, it's just a clear plastic head, okay? No white coating on it, you can see right through it into the drum. Okay, so Evans make a drum head called the G2, the 2 being the 2 ply. The Emperor from Remo, that's a 2 ply head as well. The Ambassador, however, from Remo, that's a 1 ply head. I think Evans make a G1, which is only 1 ply as well. So if you were playing jazz, you'd probably want a single ply head or 1 ply because you're going to tune it up a lot tighter. Get a nice high pitch out of it. These will probably need to be tuned up a little bit more than that. And then a double ply head if you're playing rock. Okay, so those are just general rules of thumb. Same with the sticks. Okay, if you're just starting out, stick with a 5A stick. If you're going to play some lighter music, maybe pull out some 7As for that jazz feel, a little bit brighter on the cymbals with that really pronounced, what they call an acorn tip. But if you're going to play heavy rock, you want to be using at least a 5B, probably something like a 3A or even a 2B, okay? And there's thousands of different brands. I personally love Vater sticks, but Vic Firth are good too. There's so many great brands out there. Just find something that really works for you and the size of your hands. Now, I've got pretty big hands, okay? And I like to hold the stick really loosely, so therefore I choose a bigger stick, a 5B, because it means I can just grip the stick nice and loose, okay? If you like to grip the stick a little tighter, okay, or you've got smaller hands, you might like a thinner stick. Just experiment with what, and you'll find what feels good for you. I hope that's given you a good introduction to stick sizes and drum heads. When we come back for the next lesson, I'll start talking about the grip, which alongside posture and seat height is also one of the most fundamental things you need to get right when you're first learning to play the drums. This is your boy London Lukey and I'm out. Have a great day.